Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. It is Christmas. I almost said Christmas Eve again. I'm not going to restart again. It is New Year's Eve. My name is Sam, and this is By Hook or By Needles. And I am working on my subscribers blanket yet again because I have been very fortunate that another 11 people have decided to hit the subscribe button and join me, which is great. Thank you to those 11, and thank you to all the others who I hope do keep coming back. If not every time, occasionally. It's great to have you. So, yep, that's what I thought I'd do. And I thought, it's 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, so no celebrations starting just yet. And I thought I'll just sit down and add a couple of rows to each of the blankets so that I'm up to date with them. I was going to keep it till Sundays, but then I thought, well, I want to start afresh tomorrow. I want January the 1st to be like a new start, sort of to the year. I don't want anything sort of, I say laughingly, I don't want anything left undone. I've got a lot of stuff left undone, but hopefully I'll still get it finished on the sidelines as well. So I'm just sort of working on these. And then I was wondering, we all talk about Christmas in Australia and in the heat, but we don't think really much about a New Year's Eve party in the heat. So whereas Christmas Day is definitely a pain to have it really hot, because you do, most folks decide, look, no, we're not going to do the full Christmas dinner or anything. We're just going to do what I did, cold cuts, salads, lobsters, prawns, whatever, cold seafood platters they have, and all the rest of it. And I know a lot of people also will do a lot of sushi platters and that sort of thing. I've done that in the past. Anything that's cold, you can pre-do, cover it with Glad wrap, pop it in the fridge. Christmas Day comes, you pull it out and put it on the dinner table, and everybody digs in. You want to keep it as simple and easy as possible. But interestingly, and we do the same for New Year's Eve parties, but interestingly, with our New Year's Eve parties, they're usually outdoors. The ladies might be inside. We're very un-PC in Australia, and it's very much ladies inside preparing salads and whatnot, or preparing food, and the men outside around the barbecue cooking the meat, and then everybody goes outside to eat. And I like that idea. I kind of like that idea because, all the mess is outside. Christmas, I would imagine, New Year's Eve in the UK and the US is very different, obviously, because it's possibly too cold to go outside in most of the states. I realize there's probably still a lot of states that can still go outside and perhaps, have a barbie with wearing jumpers or something. But I just thought it was an interesting sort of contrast, because that is a bonus, I think. That is a bonus to having summer at Christmas time, is the New Year's Eve party is also in summer. And I think that can be a little bit more enjoyable, especially for the kids. If you've got young kids, there may be, there's probably a pool at the house that you're going to perhaps, and the kids can splash about and keep cool if it is a hot day. Yeah. And I just thought, we don't really think about that much. We always think about Christmas Day dinner, but we never think about the New Year's Eve parties. So I thought it's worth thinking about and mentioning. And I was also thinking, what was it? Who got me thinking about it? Probably Lisa from Lisa's Knits and Vlogs. Oh, I can never say that. She was talking about yarn and all the yarn she'd used for the previous year. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. If you want to find out how many meters she has used, blew my mind. That woman is a knitting machine. I'll put a link in the description, and yeah, go find out. Go find out for yourself how many meters she used and how many balls of yarn she used. And I thought, well, I might try and keep track of what I'm doing, but it's very hard because I use a lot of, I get balls without bands. So what do I do with this? I haven't got a band for it. And then I've got bands on balls that I might not ever sort of actually finish because I'm using it for scraps for the scrap blanket or something else. So I don't know. So then I thought what I might do instead is just make a list of everything I've actually made and perhaps what yarn I used and leave it at that. Because I do want a record. Because last year I felt I was a little bit down on myself. I was like, you haven't really achieved much this year, being 2024. I mean, I do know if I look back and see what I have done, I have, but I haven't achieved as much as I normally would do. I would normally give at least half a dozen to a dozen blankets to charity, and this year I didn't get anywhere near that, and that kind of annoyed me because I feel like I sort of let people down. I mean, I know I haven't, but you sort of feel like, oh, I normally achieve this, that, and the other. So that's why next year, 2024, which is coming up in, math work for me, 9 hours and 20 minutes, give or take. I'm going to try and do a little bit more for charity, even if it's reverting to simple corner-to-corner knitted garter stitch blankets, maybe, preemie hats or scarves and that sort of thing. Just something that is mindless that I can do when I'm watching everybody's YouTube channels, because I don't really watch TV. Anything I watch is usually on Prime Video, Binge Video, which is an Australian stream, or YouTube. And that's all I watch, because I'd like to be able to pick and choose what I can see, and I really don't need the negativity. There's too much negativity going on out there, and I am aware of it. I do keep myself up to date and educated with it, but I'd just rather not see it 6 or 7 times a day. The same depressing stuff. But yeah, so oh yeah, see, went off on a tangent and then I completely forgot where I was going. Lisa's Vlogs and Knits. She was talking about all the yarn she used, and I realized that, like me, she tends to stick with an 8-ply, which is a lightweight lightweight 3, and I think a couple of times she did double up the yarn and make a scarf, an extra sort of thick scarf, but mostly it's 8-ply, and that's the same for me. And my friend in the UK, I'll say hi, Carol, but I don't think she ever watches. Hi, Carol. She's also very much 8-ply. And then I thought, but it's interesting, and it's something I noticed a long time ago when I was when I first started watching all these different people on YouTube that I'm now subscribed to and following, and who are subscribed to me and all that sort of thing. I noticed they use a lot of weight 4s, which is 10-ply, and thicker. And I thought, I wonder why. And then it sort of kind of hit me that it's probably, I think the states that you have that get cold weather get really cold. You know, there's no middle ground. You know, when we get cold, I think the coldest it's ever been here is where I am now was 0 degrees Celsius, which works out to be 36 degrees Fahrenheit. So it might have gone to -1 once or twice, but that's it. So we get cold, but it's not sort of like what I would class as, you know, devastatingly cold. And then I watch someone like, you know, Lala on Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming, and she was showing us that the weather app said it was only -9 Fahrenheit, and she said not the right temperature. And then another app was telling her it was minus something else. But she said, you know, but then she showed us this Coca-Cola outdoor temperature gauge she's got, which was like -20 Fahrenheit. And I thought, I couldn't even imagine that here. And I thought, is that why you use a lot of bulky yarns? Is it because you need the bulk? You need the extra thickness for the extra warmth? And I thought, it probably is. But then I thought, well, the UK also gets below 0. But I don't think their below 0 is, doesn't get quite as low. Or at least it hasn't in the past. And I think, you know, it also depends what designers you're using. I get a little bit sort of exasperated by, I find a really gorgeous pattern. I think, oh, it's gorgeous. And then I look and it says 12-ply or 10-ply. And I think, I don't want to make a shawl in a 10-ply. I don't want to make a baby blanket in a 10-ply. I want to make it in an 8-ply or a 4-ply. I do love the thinner yarns. So I either have to do some math, which I don't want to do, or I miss out. So most of the time I miss out. You know, whereas a lot of the UK, designers like Helen Shrimpton, if you have never checked her out, check her out. I will try and remember to put her. I'm going to forget all these, aren't I? Unless I write them down. Where's my pen? Who did I say I was going to put on the list? I said Helen Shrimpton, didn't I? Well, yeah, Helen Shrimpton. That hasn't reminded me of anybody else. Oh, Lisa's vlogs. And go and see her and find out just how much yarn she used. Blows your mind. There was somebody else. I might have to watch it and find out. But yeah, I'll put them in the description below in case you want to sort of go and check them out. But Helen Shrimpton is a blanket designer from the UK who uses predominantly Stylecraft from Wool Warehouse. It's an affordable yarn, so she's a great designer in the specs that she uses a yarn that most people are able to afford. Not like some designers who suggested or recommended yarn is, I looked at one and and I worked out how much yarn I would have to buy, and I think the cost to me was going to be $400 or $500. No thank you. But they did offer it's cheaper yarn as well. But so she uses an 8-ply because that Stylecraft is an 8-ply. She'll also give you the options for using a slightly thinner yarn sometimes, or sport weight yarn, to make the same blanket, which might be a Shepier's. That's how I was told it was. No, Scapier's. That's the way I was taught that it was said. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Yeah, so you can use Scapier's yarn, the river wash or the stone wash. So she does give you more expensive options, and they do sell kits at the Wool Warehouse. They sell the cheaper kits, which are the Stylecraft, and then the other more expensive kits. But all her stuff is usually in 8-ply. Again, I think often her patterns will give you options and measurements for, if you want to use a 10-ply, but of course the blanket's going to be a lot bigger, and her blankets are quite large to begin with anyway, and they're very beautiful and intricate. Really worth having a look at. She's got a Facebook group as well, and yeah, very, very talented woman. So yeah, she uses 8-ply. My girlfriend in the UK uses 8-ply. In Australia, if I go shopping, even to places like Spotlight or Lincraft, which is another yarn supplier here, mostly 8-plies. Yes, we do have 10-plies, and yes, we do have 12-plies, but that's about as far as it goes. Now, 12-ply would be, I guess if a 4-weight is a 10-ply, then a 5-weight would be a 12-ply, and a 6-weight would be, I don't know what a 6-weight would be, a bulky. But yeah, because practically, us making stuff that's sort of made with bulky yarn isn't really practical, because we don't get cold enough to warrant needing it. And I think that's probably why there's such a difference with designers and what they design in the different countries. So I tend to, go to a lot of UK and Australian designers for patterns, because they will use, thinner yarns or whatever. And even Canada tends to, and they get really cold there, but I've noticed a lot of them have a lot of 8-plies as well. Yeah. I don't mind going up to a 10-ply. I often have used a 10-ply, especially with some amigurumi and whatnot. I've used a 10-ply, but I'm not huge on anything thicker than that, really, unless I don't know why. It's just, yeah, it's just got to be with, the bulkiness of it, I think. It's just got to be, to me, this blanket is going to be heavy enough in an 8-ply laying on me to work on without, if this was a 10 or a 12, yeah, it would be finished quicker and it'd be a bigger blanket, but it would just be too heavy. You wouldn't need to use it. There would be never an instance in Australia where you would need to have it unless you were, going skiing on the weekend and you took a blanket for, wrapping up in, I don't know, by a fire pit or something. I have no idea. But anyway, so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, you know, how do we knit? You know, a lot of people, you know, have said, how do you knit in that sort of heat? Well, quite simply, I have fans and air conditioning. And if it gets too hot, I close up my room here and I put on the aircon and or the fan, and I'm then cool enough. I have a table in front of me, so very often my project will lay on the table rather than on me, so I'm not getting warm. And of course I use an 8-ply and nothing usually thicker than that when I'm making big items. And summer, we usually, most knitters or crocheters in Australia will switch to smaller projects. Not me, I will knit whatever I want, regardless of what the temperature is. If I want to do something, I just do it. But a lot of us will knit or crochet small items. Like we'll switch to amigurumi, and we'll switch to granny squares. Maybe we'll make a granny square blanket where we'll spend the, just gotta get my genie ready. Where's my hole gone? You know, and we'll spend the summer perhaps making granny squares, which we will then join when it cools down a bit. Not me, I would just join them as I went, or whatever, but yeah, we make a lot of cotton stuff too. We might knit or crochet a nice cotton, lacy cotton top instead of you know, a bulky jumper. But we'll knit jumpers as well, because they can be knit in pieces, and then that's not so hot. So that's how we sort of get around it. We do still knit and crochet, obviously, but we just we choose our projects. Most people just choose their projects. I have to knit and or crochet, because if I didn't, I'd lose my mind. Some say I already have, but you know, and they're probably right, I have. I think, you know, I used to jokingly say, yep, I backed up my life and mind on a floppy disk way back in the 1990s, and I haven't been able to access it since, because floppy drives never worked. And now you can't get a floppy disk to save your life. But yeah. Anyway, row 2. So I'm going to be back later on today. I will be back for bringing in the new year, just for a few minutes, because obviously that will be at a different time to your new year. So I will just pop on, say Happy New Year to myself, and maybe it'll be quiet here, maybe it'll be noisy. It just depends. The last, actually since 2020, when we had the big C, or little c, I always consider the big C to be Cancer. And I got freaked out the other week. Someone said they had the big C, and I was like, oh my God, you know, and then, you know, and they said, oh yeah, we hate COVID. And I'm like, huh? Oh, thank God. I really thought this person had found out they'd gotten cancer. And I was like, can we call that the little C, the little C, please? I said, because, you know, COVID isn't cancer, you know. But anyway, so, yeah, so since 2020, it's been very quiet here. We used, about that way, about 5-10 kilometers. 5 kilometers probably is closer. They do have legal fireworks display New Year's Eve if it's not a total fire ban day. And I don't think today is. So I will possibly hear those. But a couple of doors down we have a gentleman and some people who love to let off illegal fireworks. And, you know, not a lot you can do about it. I wouldn't report them even if I wanted to, you know, there's just no point. There's just no point, because by the time the police got there, the fireworks would have been finished with. You've got no evidence, and then all that does is cause bad feeling in the neighborhood, you know, especially if they figure out who it was that complained. So no, I don't bother complaining about it, but I always stay up till midnight and just after in case there is any fireworks. But even down the road, and there was another one over that way who used to always let off fireworks. Since 2020, they've been very, very quiet. I think what normally happens is because the kids, you know, are getting tired and have to go to bed, they might let off 1 or 2 fireworks at about 10 when it gets really dark, or 9, just so that the kids can see them, and that's it, and then they don't let any more off at midnight. But so the last, you know, 3 or 4 years, it's been very nice and quiet around here. There's not even been loud music or loud parties. It's been very unusual, because prior to 2020, there used to be a lot of parties, and they would be very loud. And they kept being very loud until about 2 a.m., which is why I just kept staying up until, you know, it settled down, because I couldn't see the point of it unless you sort of like, you know, couldn't see the point in trying to get to sleep if all that noise was going to be going on. But, yeah, gone are the good old days. I remember when we were kids, on Christmas Eve, we would walk around the streets with bin lids, crashing them together. Oh, we were little shits. Oh, wow, we were terrible. Terrible, terrible kids. Yeah, I said a swear word, sorry. Just ignore it. But we were terrible little, horrible kids. But that was back in the 70s when everybody's kids was doing it and nobody cared and all the rest of it. But now everybody seems to care, and maybe that's why there are no more loud parties. Maybe everybody's gotten to the stage where they just can't be bothered with the complaints. I don't know. I really don't know. It's weird. But anyway, I will be back for that, just to bring in the new year with you all, which will be my first video for 2025. And yeah, I've got a few events kicking off, and I've got a few projects I've got to be working on that I can't start until January the 1st. One of them is Hooker versus Hooker. I want to try and do that project every month if I can. And this month it was a top, and the colours were blue, pink and green. And I thought, and I looked around, I thought, I haven't got enough blue, pink and green anything. But then I remembered, that I do have some blue, pink and green, not a lot of the green, in a 50% cotton and 50% wool. And that might be enough to make a top with. So I thought, yeah, okay, I just got to find it. I've also got a cone of yarn somewhere, and it's like this big. It's a big cone of yarn. It's like your sugars and cream cones that you can buy. It's really quite large, but it's a sport weight. It's a 5-ply, and it's like something stupid like 1200 meters, and it's in off-white, and I haven't seen it now for a year, 18 months, and I have not used it, and it is not under my bed or behind my chair. The cats haven't run off with it. It's got to be in one of my storage bags or boxes or whatever, but for some reason I'm sort of wearing blinkers and can't see it. I'm like, you know, and it's over here, and I'm going, nope, not in this bag. I don't know. One day I'll find it, and I will rejoice, and I will show you all that I have found my cone of yarn, and then I will go, what did I want it for? Because I can't remember why I wanted to find it in the first place now. It was that long ago. I've been looking for it that long, I cannot remember. Oh, hang on, that might have been what it was. Maybe. Yeah, my daughter's getting married, and I want to make, I have wanted to make I'm going to say this wrong, I'm going to butcher it, and I'm really sorry, but a chuppa, or a hopper. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. Which is just like a canopy that is held up on 4 poles over the couple getting married in Temple. And I thought this yarn would be perfect for that. I could make something really nice and lacy, something poignant with their initials on it or something like that. I don't know. I had to find out, you know, I've worked out the sizing and all the rest of it, but now I've just got to find the darn yarn. So, yeah. Anyway, I've blabbered on long enough. Please, like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you don't miss seeing me again, or don't hit it if you don't want to see me again, and that's fine. I can understand that. You know, not everybody is everybody's cup of tea, hey, but that's life. Anyway, please take care, and remember, learn from the past, think about the future, but always live for today. Bye for now.